The Republican National Convention is kicking off. It's July 15th, 2024, and these are your headlines. It's official. The Republican Party of Texas convention has begun in Milwaukee with hundreds of Texans and thousands of folks from across the country coming in. The convention's top order of business will officially nominating Donald Trump as the presidential nominee. They did that earlier today, a task that has taken on deeper significance after the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania over the weekend that killed one attendee and left others, including the former president, wounded. Texas's delegation includes many current and incoming state lawmakers, as well as grassroots activists. You got State Representative Brian Harrison, who told Texas Scorecard he's proud of his service in the Trump administration and honored to have the opportunity to formally nominate him to once again lead our great nation as president. Harrison formerly served as the chief of staff in the Department of Health and Human Services under President Trump. Wes Verdell, who's set to replace outgoing State Representative Andrew Murr, said he's grateful to attend after first being selected in 2020, a convention that was ultimately scaled down due to COVID. In fact, there's a lot of delegates that are that way. They were selected in 2020. That convention, because of COVID, ended up not happening in a public way, and so they're coming back in 2024. Brent Money, another incoming member, called it the honor of a lifetime to serve Texas as a delegate during this crucial moment in our nation's history. Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller was spotted arriving with his gas and groceries tour bus that he's taking across the country. Attorney General Ken Paxton said he's honored to nominate President Donald Trump on the floor, adding that America needs a warrior, and we have that in President Trump. Others, unfortunately, like State Representative Steve Toth, have been forced to stay behind in Texas as they deal with the fallout of last week's Hurricane Beryl. Toth said half his district is still without power. The convention kicked off today and will continue through Thursday, culminating in a speech by Trump himself. Republicans in the Texas legislature are calling on Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett of Dallas to resign from the U.S. House after she co-sponsored a bill to strip former President Donald Trump of Secret Service protection. First reported by the Daily Caller, the letter is signed by 27 current and incoming lawmakers and takes aim at Crockett for sponsoring H.R. 2081, which would have terminated the presidential protection detail for any person who is sentenced for a federal or state offense that is punishable by at least 1 year in prison. The legislation has received new attention following the attempted assassination of the president, with reports that his existing Secret Service protection was insufficient. The letter says Texans believe that regardless of party, presidents of the United States of America, both current and former, must be protected. Considering Saturday's assassination attempt on President Trump, which resulted in him being literally shot in the ear and in other innocent Americans being killed or injured, and since you just 3 months ago sponsored legislation to remove his Secret Service protective detail, we, the undersigned, current and future members of the Texas legislature, call on you to immediately resign your position in Congress. They then ended by saying you have forfeited any moral authority to represent the state of Texas. Now, Crockett was the first elected to Congress in 2022. After serving just one term in the Texas House, she was one of 8 Democrats to sponsor the proposed legislation.
Do you ever wonder what it would be like to trust that where you get your news is accurate and pro-citizen? Well, Texas Scorecard has you covered. We give you real news for real Texans. Go to TexasScorecard.com today.
Republican State Senator Bob Hall is calling for new legislation to safeguard the sovereignty of Texas from the overreaching influence of international organizations such as the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, and the United Nations. Now, recently, in a unanimous vote, the Louisiana Senate, our neighbors to the east, passed Senate Bill 133, which the Louisiana governor signed in late May. It limits the jurisdiction of international organizations inside the state. Senator Hall explains that Louisiana's actions strengthened its autonomy and protected its citizens from external policies that may not align with the state's interests and values. Specifically, Louisiana's legislation dictates that the World Health Organization, United Nations, and the World Economic Forum shall have no jurisdiction or power within the state, and that no regulations or mandates of any kind from these entities would be enforced, effectively making Louisiana a sanctuary state. The WHO's Global Pandemic Agreement, which is still being negotiated among nations within the World Health Assembly, seeks to enforce policies worldwide, touting them as a means to protect health and safety. However, others see the move as a threat to liberty and sovereignty of nations by an outside organization. While the Biden administration is considering signing the pandemic treaty, Governor Greg Abbott has joined other governors across the country to oppose the agreement, citing its many violations of the U.S. Constitutions and the rights of U.S. citizens. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.